today we're looking at basic angle facts, and we're going to start with angles around a point. So as you probably already know, a full circle, there's a few things we need to know here. A full circle is 360 degrees. So that means if we have several angles around a point, if we add up those values, they must give us 360 degrees. So that's our first rule. Our second rule is that, well, if we only go halfway round, then we get half of this, we get 180 degrees. And now quite a nice way to remember this is if you have a look at a protractor, that's half a circle and it's got 180 degrees. Now my dad was actually a farmer, so he was very pro-tractor. But what this means is that if we have angles on a straight line, if we add them all up, then they have to sum to 180 degrees. Okay, our last little fact that we need to know is vertically opposite angles. Okay, and now vertically opposite angles are the same. And what does vertically opposite mean? Well, two angles are vertically opposite if they're opposite each other on the intersection of two lines. So that line there, or that angle there, and that angle there, they're vertically opposite. So they're the three rules that we absolutely need to know for this. In a second, we'll look at an example on how to apply these three rules to a question. Okay, so now we've had a look at these facts, we're going to have a look at some example questions where we're asked to apply these facts. So feel free to work along with these at home, and if you want to have a go, pause the video and then you can check your answers in a second. We'll go through these ones. So this one, we've got angles around a point. Now, what do those angles have to add up to? Correct, it's 360 because that angle's around a point. So our strategy is going to be to add up the angles that we do know and then subtract it from 360. So they add to 360. So we will take 210 and 50 and add those together. 260. And then to work out what A is, again, all three of them need to add up to 360. So we need to work out what A has to be to take it up to 360. The easiest way to do that is to do 360, take away our 260, and that gives us 0, 0, 100. So our final answer is that A is 100 degrees. Okay, let's have a go at the second one. So this time, they're not angles around a point, and they're angles on a straight line. So what must these add up to? Correct, 180. So it's worth just jotting down that they add to 180 because they're angles on a straight line. So again, this time we don't need to add anything up because there's only one other angle, so we can skip straight ahead to subtracting it, but from 180 this time. Well, we have to borrow one from the 8. 10 take away 5 is 5, 7 take away 3 is 4, so we get 45 degrees. So again, always write our final answer down. B is equal to 45 degrees. Okay, now on to the third and final one. So this time we've been asked to find two angles and we need to use two of these rules. So let's look at C first. Now C and 40, they're a special kind of angle, or a special kind of pair of angles. Which of the three rules are we going to use for this final one to work out what C is? Correct, C and 40 are vertically opposite, so that means they're equal. So let's write that down. So C is equal to 40 degrees, because vertically opposite angles are equal. Excellent. So now let's work out what D is. Now to work out D, we need to have a think. So we've got angles around a point, which we could use, and we could use the fact that this angle and this angle are the same, but actually it's a little bit easier to think about if we just cover up, angle C, then D and 40 are now on a straight line. We can use that fact to work out what D is. So D and 40 are on a straight line. So they add to 180. So then again, when we do 180, we're going to subtract the 40, gives 140. So D is equal to 140 degrees. Excellent. Okay, so on to our second example. Now I'm going to work through this one. While I'm doing that, you please feel free to work through this one. Once we've finished a step, or at any point, feel free to pause the video if you need a little bit of time to catch up on this one. So in this example, we're going to be using all of the facts that we went through on our previous examples. We're going to use vertically opposite, angles around a point, and angles on a straight line. So here we're told that AC, so whenever you're given two letters next to each other, that's the line connecting those 2 points. So AC and BD are straight lines. So we need to find X and Y. So let's start with finding Y first of all here, because I think that one's slightly easier. With these sorts of questions, it can be a little bit daunting because you've got a few different things to find. It's just easiest, I think, to chip away at what you can work out, and then as you go through, other things will become more obvious. But because we're told BD is a straight line, if you look, this angle Y and this angle 145 are part of around that point on that straight line. So what we can say first is that Y and 145 are on a straight line. So that means they add to, remember what they add to? 180, correct. 180 degrees. So to work out what Y is, we do 180, we subtract 145, and that, again, we borrow 1 from there, 35 degrees. So I know that Y is equal to 35 degrees. Okay, so there's a couple of ways we can work out what X is here. I think the one I will do uses the fact that this large angle here, the whole angle there is vertically opposite to that 145. Okay, so as they're vertically opposite, I know that X and 90, that 90-degree angle there, must be the same as our 145-degree angle there. So X and this 90 are the same as this 145. So we're going to do a similar tactics that we did here. Because I know that this 90 and this X have to add to give me 145, I need to think, what does X have to be to bring it up to 145? And to do that, we do the same thing here. We do 145, we subtract the 90, and we work that out. So 5 take away 0 is 5, and we borrow 1 from the 1 to make that 14, and 14 subtract 9 is 5, and we get 0. So our answer is 55 degrees, so that means that X is equal to 55 degrees. So if you need to finish this question off, and now's a good time to pause the video because I'm going through the answers to that now. Okay. So here, very similar to how we started off over here, Y and 135 are on a straight line. So they must add up to 180. So we do 180, take away the 135, and we get 45 degrees. So Y is equal to 45 degrees. Okay, and then we'll do this slightly differently this time. If you notice, if you look at DB, we've got this y, this 80, and this x all on a straight line. So what we'll do for to find x is we'll use the fact that y, 80, and x are on a straight line. So they have to add up to 180 as well. But I know y is 45, so what I can do is I can do 80 plus 45, that gives me 125, and then to work out x is, I need to take the 125 away from 180. So that gives me 550, or 55 degrees. So x is equal to 55. Good job if you managed to get that done at home.